How are we going, everybody? I've got the good-looking fella here next to me again today. Craig Cashby's come over, dropped some books off. Thank you very much.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for selling them.
Nah, you're welcome, mate. How you going?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good.
How's the garden?
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's not quite as far advanced as I'd like, but you know.
Same here, mate. As you can see,
we
my tomatoes.
all get busy.
We do, and the plants aren't growing as fast. The weather hasn't been warm enough, long enough.
No, and
consistently.
El Nino, cool, wet spring, and looks like it's going to be a bit of a
So
mild
is that
summer.
do they use La Nina or El Nino as a? Is that a
La Nina? Sorry.
La Nina? So that's a Latin word,
Yes.
isn't it? Whereas they use the Greek words for the bad things. Right?
Well, I think La Nina's not such a good thing.
Oh,
But
isn't it? Okay,
No.
it's a wet season, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
it's a good thing for me because I haven't had to water, well, predominantly the larger areas, fruit trees and things like that, for over a year. The other day I was looking at one of the almond trees. It was wilted, well, cupped a little bit, and thinking, okay, that one in particular may need a water. It's still cupped, even though we had a bit of a rain, so it hasn't soaked in enough. And all the other trees are fine, so I haven't had a close look at it. It's a couple 100 metres away. It may need a bit more attention than just water. But generally speaking, the La Nina has been nice to me. But not nice to me in the sense I don't have to hold a watering wand.
Well, that's very true. But look, you know, there's what makes it easier. All of this easier is good soil.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. What are you saying? I haven't got good soil.
no, it's
I'm joking, man.
but
Are you? Are you serious?
no. I
It's okay.
don't know where I'm at with you now.
You trust me?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, sometimes.
Let's see it. Just all right. So the trees have been. Oh, before we go into the topic today, sorry folks. Topic today is soil versus dirt.
Well, what is dirt?
Dead soil.
He's got it wrong.
Which one? Who's that? So what is dirt?
Okay, so dirt is sand, silt, and clay, and soil is
Sand, silt, and clay.
But there's a big difference between the two because soil has some added things, and it has.
Synthetic fertilizers, phosphates.
No, absolutely not. That's what turns good soil into
Dirt.
Into dirt. And what we've got to do is try and understand. Stop treating soil like dirt. Get away from the synthetic stuff. So more to the point, it needs to have humus.
Okay.
It needs to have cover from the sun.
I'm going to just fill in a couple of gaps here. So soil, silt is not silk, and humus is not humans.
No.
Okay.
Correct.
You can put a few in if you like, but we don't condone that.
Actually, humans do eventually
End up becoming humus.
returning to the soil.
So where the word comes from, human, becomes humus.
Humus, that's
So-
exactly right. I'm not sure that's the
Look
right
at the
one,
right-
but anyway.
On the right channel here. Okay. So dirt is life. Soil is life in dirt.
Yes.
Soil is the life of dirt.
So to give you an idea, dirt, there's really nothing alive in it.
No.
It's been left to the sun.
Yep.
It's been turned over and exposed.
So like some of my garden beds
all
here.
of the microflora, well, it happens to everyone, mate. If you leave soil uncovered,
Exactly.
what happens is all of the composting insects travel down deep where
To
it's
avoid-
cool.
Yep, because the top layer of soil.
Yep, which is what feeds us. I mean, we've got to nourish soil.
Yep.
You know, well, chatting to you before, you know, I said, you know, you are only what you eat, and that's close. You are what you eat, but you actually, you are what you eat eats.
Yeah, you are what you eat
Yep.
eats.
So if you're feeding your food synthetic rubbish chemicals, that's what you're going to ingest.
My followers out there will know perfectly well, and as yours
look,
do,
I know.
that we eat, if I could say it bluntly as this, we eat shit.
Yep.
Because that's what we feed our garden. Chicken poo, cow poo,
Yep,
humus, you know.
And that's what's important.
It's to eat more shit.
Yes.
So why can't we just bypass that and go straight to the source?
Well, I don't know. It's not very tasty, I wouldn't have thought. Not that I've tried it, but you know what I mean?
No.
I have tasted some sandwiches that taste like that's what's on it. But
Some people reckon coriander, I'm not sure if you heard 3AW last night, coriander tastes like soap or poo.
But there are two people. There's people that like coriander and there's people that absolutely detest
But
it.
there must be some anyway, we're diverting a bit. Diversion.
Anyway,
Go
so
on.
back to the soil.
Okay.
So soil, healthy soil,
Yes.
that is covered by mulch.
Yep.
And if you cast your mind back to a forest floor is fed from above.
Yes.
There's nothing on earth that turns soil over like we do as humans with a plough.
Or chickens.
Or well, chickens are forest dwellers. That's what they're meant to do. But they only scratch the leaf litter from one place to another.
That's it.
They don't bear the earth.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
They move it around.
Yes, exactly. And they actually help turn it over, which to some
a slight aeration of the surface.
Very minimal, and that's as much as we should be doing with a little hoe
or little 3-prong prying, or what do you call it? Cultivator.
Little cultivator that I've seen you use. Yeah, that's ideal. That's perfect stuff.
Scratch the surface just to crack.
But turning soil over like that ultimately upsets all of the microflora. And let me tell you, when you understand in a tablespoon of soil, there is more life in that than there are humans walking the planet. That's over 10 billion living organisms.
In that one little spoon?
In one tablespoon of soil. And in one teaspoon of soil, there is more diversity in that. That's more species of living organisms on that than there are in the most diverse place on earth, the Amazon rainforest.
Yes.
So that's in just one teaspoon. So when you set foot into your gardens
stepping on the Amazon
next time, give some of that some thought, because if you're not replenishing and feeding your soil from above with leaf litter and humus compost, soil conditioners like you obviously advocate, and manures and so forth, the soil can't do what it needs to do. And plants feed soil and soil feeds plants. So it's extremely important to understand that. You know, every leaf is a basic solar panel, and it sucks the CO2 out of the atmosphere, and it stores the carbon as it processes in that photosynthesis. You know, making the green pigmentation for the leaves. But it stores the carbon into the soil and creates structure with it. And stores it safely for us.
Yes.
And it releases as a byproduct oxygen, which we breathe. So it's vitally important that we get that balance. And you know, I often hear people say, "I can't," you know, the climate change and this, that, the other. What can I do about it? Well, each and every one of us can do something about it.
Whether it's a pot plant or
it can be a pot plant on the balcony. If you're growing a plant in there and you put a little bit of mulch, and I always put mulch over my pots so that it stops that dehydration and the soil or body mix, whatever's in there, can actually store that carbon. So you actually make a difference.
So in simple terms, what you're saying is exposed soil on the surface of the top 100 mil, 150 mil is the life of our soil kingdom, let's say, our plant life. And if that is exposed to the sun's rays, that not only dehydrates it, it causes it to release
it releases carbon
into the atmosphere. It kills off the microbiota, fungi. So that in turn, that soil that once had life, over time becomes your blanket for your soil down below.
Correct,
but
which is subsoil.
Subsoil, which generally shouldn't be doing that.
Correct.
So you're killing the life in your soil, turning it into dirt. Your subsoil...
And that gets blown...
away, because there's no structure there.
And putrefies our rivers and our water courses.
Leaching. And that soil then, the life that lives normally, as we speak, for people who know composting worms and earthworms, different depths. The same with our life in our soil. The billions upon billions of microbes and fungi and all the other stuff live in that structure.
Correct. In the topsoil.
In the topsoil, and if you kill that off, they don't necessarily move down.
No,
they die. So we need to understand. That's where I was trying to take this, and I took a little bit longer to get there. When you kill the topsoil or your soil and it turns into dirt, don't think that life is going to go down further.
No.
And as I've shown a few times in garden beds that I've let sit, fell for a year, exposed, no moles, and which I should have mulched, and I've expressed why I haven't and whatever, that soil becomes dead. So we had to scratch it or turn it in a little bit, then put the life back into it, feed it, build the microbe colony back again, hydrate it, because that's so vital.
So soil is a very vital part of what we all do as gardeners, and I don't think
dirt. We were dirt once upon a time. We're going to turn into dirt again.
But it gets on our boots. And you got don't walk in here because you know what I mean. It's a dirty thing, isn't it? It gets on your hands and on your fingernails.
We look at it as a negative thing, whereas I go,
like dirt.
Well, I look at I cut them now and don't mind the black nail there, but I've cut my nails yesterday, I think it was, but they were super long the other day, and I was digging out in the garden, and I probably had, the equal amount of the population, the equal amount in population under my fingernails in microbes. And I'm walking around and say, look, I've got the earth in my fingers here. I've got it in my hands, but that's dirt.
But that's what I'm trying to say. We've got to learn to treat and respect soil for what it is, and for all the things that it does. It stores carbon.
It does.
And we can turn some of this problem around if we just understand.
So it's not just the cows that are causing the problem.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's about really that healthy lifestyle that we're all trying to do more of. And don't worry about asking where your food comes from. When you're growing your own food, make sure that you're treating the soil right. And
what you put into your soil is what you take out.
Yeah, because whatever you eat,
it was my fact.
If it's been grown poorly, then so is the nutrition and all the things that you're likely not to get back out of it.
I had so many, in my past life when we were able to travel and do things freely. At the events, one of the topics was soil and what do we eat? What do we put in our mouths? Well, how do we eat? Do we know where it comes from? And the connection between our food source and its food source was the same as we said earlier. It's just basically humus, poo, break down organic matter. And if that's not the basis of what your plants are feeding on or your animals, which
really
feed off the plant. And unfortunately, when you walk into a supermarket, I do that seldomly, walk into a supermarket, that is, and when I do, it takes me a few minutes just to overcome the frustrations of what I see. Now, I mean, I'm a bit of a hypocrite here because our products are packaged, right, in plastic and boxes, and we recycle as much as we can, and we ask people to buy refills and all that, but it doesn't come as a 4 kilo black grit, 3/4 full and air at the top of it, where like your packets of chips and your box of biscuits, you got more packaging involved than what there is product inside, and the shelves are just loaded because we are so sensitized to buy and shop and be influenced with our eyes. First point of action, you get influenced with what you see, smell, hear, taste. If we don't like the taste of sugar or salt, we don't like it. We don't care how it was manufactured. We show ignorance to that, and that's the part that annoys me the most. Where if you don't appreciate how your food traditionally should be made, and I understand corporations need to be able to feed the masses, but they've done it to themselves. It wasn't us doing it to them. They've taken away not our freedom, but our knowledge. Does that, I mean, this is soil. I mean, soil is part of soil is part of our life.
But it's not. But it's not until when you're not growing your own food and you're asking someone else to grow food on your behalf. And you don't concern yourself with how that's being grown.
And you become greedy because you're influenced by the marketing of it. I want that now. Tomatoes
and then you get embroiled in the whole lot of it.
You're making me angry.
And because no one cares, they just keep doing the same old thing. But when you go and ask the greengrocer, where has this come from? Where was this grown? How was it grown? What's it been fed with? How many times has it been sprayed? Then all of a sudden, you might start and get a new reason as to why you should be growing food. And
it's even worse when I said
this the other day. On my business card and most of my letterhead and anything else that I send out from me, my little catch cry is backyard farming is the future. And I firmly believe that we are slowly but surely coming to understand how important it is to start and grow your own food as much as you possibly can.
Oh, from that delicious mouth of yours to the ears of everybody listening, folks. Backyard farming is the future.
And your front yard. Don't just have a front yard for everyone else to look
rooftop,
at.
Nature strip.
That's it. Anywhere you can grow plants. And if everyone starts to do some of this, I can assure you the carbon that gets stored back in the ground will certainly soon turn around. You don't have to worry about the big boys doing this. We can do this ourselves.
We don't need them.
No.
We honestly don't need them.
And you're better off without them, let me tell you, because that way you've got control over what you're feeding your families.
I was 20 years of travelling. I went to so many homes who had nature strip gardens or
verge gardens,
whatever you want. Depends which part of the world you come from. They had their gardens on a nature strip, and so many of them had challenges with the local municipality as to growing something that is not part of the listed plant species allowed in their region or neighbourhood to grow. And there could be, nearly said it, sorry, it could be yucca trees. They can grow 25 metres tall under power lines.
And then
that's
they cut the centre out of them.
That's okay, but you can't grow a tomato plant or put a compost bin for your neighbour to throw their grass clippings in and take some veggies out of it.
I have to say that things are changing, and I have to say that You know, the wheels of time, the wheels of change turn very slowly. You know, and but in some councils, and Wyndham is one of those, that are starting to slowly but surely allow some of this to happen. You know, which is a good thing. But let's not worry about nature strips. Let's worry about planting out our own gardens. You don't need a vegetable garden to grow food.
Yeah, you don't need a large garden.
Fill up your garden. You know, if you've got weeds in your garden, pull the weeds out and replace them with edibles. I know what I'd rather be pulling out. And a full garden grows no weeds. If you block out the competition,
and mulch will suppress them as well.
Absolutely, and you won't have to worry about watering as much. You know, and you're helping the soil along.
Well, we're sitting in a bed here, in front of a bed here, which is 2.5 metres long by 1,500 wide, okay?
In all honesty, at this moment, I planted none of this. This is all self-sown. Everything in here, the tomatoes, the basil, the endives, the chicories, the lettuce, whatever else is in the back there, spring onions. These are all plants that volunteers who popped up, and all I've done is just relocated them, scratched the surface, and there needs another top dress of mulch. What my point is here, in this area, even half of this area, I've got about 30 or 40 plants here. There's 6 in the family here. We look at this, it's going to seed because we can't physically eat everything. Yeah, we've got other garden beds, but all the other garden beds have been sitting for a while. They've only just been planted, so there's really nothing to harvest. So for everybody out there wondering why am I so behind, the weather's been bad. So we've only just got into it, but this has been going on its own, and it's the same thing over that side there.
You're not the Lone Ranger, I can assure you. I mean, I'm a bit the same. I mean, I've got lettuce starting to go to seed myself. I've only just harvested broad beans last week.
Yeah, exactly. I still got a batch there.
There you go.
You can grow everything you need, and you eat what is in season. That's how we are genetically, biologically made up. You don't eat tomatoes in winter.
No. You know, one of the things is, and look, I say this in a lot of my workshops, is that food looks a little bit like the body part that it's good for. and this is just not, this isn't rocket science.
Have you seen my zucchini?
You know, so bananas, for instance, what do you think they're good for?
Don't be silly now. Come on. Go on.
Bananas.
What are they good for?
Yeah.
Don't go there. I'll let you answer.
That's why I've chosen that one, because I knew that you'd... Bananas are long and strap-like, like mussels.
Are they?
Full of potassium, and they stop cramping.
Okay.
All right,
I ate 2 bananas last night, and I did the splits.
Yeah, well, there you go. Walnuts, crack a walnut open. What does that look like?
My brains.
Okay, that's what they're good for. Beans. Kidneys.
Kidney beans. There you go.
Break a carrot in half and have a look at it. What does that look like?
Eyes.
Eye. Carotene, beta-carotene. Good for the eyes. Celery. Long and strap-like.
Bones.
Full of calcium. Bones. So...
Every plant, I know where you're going with this, every plant represents a genetic or physical part of your body.
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, if you grow tomatoes in winter, they're not going to give you the same that they're going to give you in summer.
No.
And if you're eating hydroponic tomatoes, that's even worse because they haven't even got, there's no bacteria or fungi or any of that.
It's lifeless.
That's it. Yeah. So, you know, you're getting pure chemical, unfortunately. So, picking vine-ripened tomatoes in the height of their season is exactly what you should be doing, and you'll feed your heart exactly what it's meant to get at the right time of the year. So eating things in season, picked at their peak, is the way to go.
But even if you grow it out of season under normal conditions and it's still able to be harvested out of season, it's still better than store-bought that's been
anything.
Anything. Keep it growing out of your garden. We started off on soil versus topsoil and dirt. That's it. And we ended up talking about growing your own veggies because at the end of the day, it all starts from the ground up. You're welcome. Check out our website, vasilisgarden.com. We're running some crazy specials. It's called Silly Season Sale. 50% plus up to, guess what, 90% off. Don't ask me how we do it or they do it.
Glad you do it.
No thanks. Up to 90% off the retail price on a huge range of online products. craigcastry.com.au, vasilisgarden.com.
And Merry Christmas, eh?
Merry Christmas if I don't see you before. Mate,